is Kerry, right? Katie McFarland, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense from the Reagan administration and Fox News national security analyst, joins us this morning. Katie, baloney, huh?
Baloney? Of course the United States military isn't going to be at risk. Why? Because they're not leaving their bases. We are ending our combat role. We're going to be there for 2 more years in a training role. What does that mean? That means they don't go out of the bases. Those bases are pretty secure places. But you know who is really at risk now? The aid workers. The Americans who have gone over to be school teachers, to teach Afghan girls how to read. The American doctors and nurses to go work in hospitals. The Americans who are going to show the Afghans how to grow soybeans. It's all those people who never had adequate security other than the American military to start with. It's those people who are on a shoestring budget. They now have a big X on their backs and a big price on their heads.
Yeah, there are a lot of heroes who are out there. They don't have the protection that the military has. Look what the Taliban did allegedly in Pakistan at that airport attack. They're claiming responsibility for that. Right. So what's to keep these 5 guys within a year or before that of going back into operational control?
Well, absolutely nothing. And we've seen in the past when Gitmo grads have been released, they have gone back to join the fight. I think if we're going to do this, we're going to start releasing Gitmo prisoners, here's what we ought to do. We have a lot of drones. I think we ought to put a drone 24/7 for the rest of their natural lives hovering over each one of these Gitmo Taliban grads. And the minute they join the fight, the minute they step out of line, waste them.
That's a great idea, but they're never going to do that.
Why
You can't
not?
watch these guys.
Why
How
not?
do they watch these guys? So you can't be on top of them 24/7. They're not even going to have ankle bracelets.
Well, they should have something, because what happens is not only are these guys going to join the fight and kill Americans, the symbolism that it gives to anybody who has been in this long twilight war is that, guess what? You wait long enough and the Americans will give up.
You talk about symbolism. Let's take a look at what John Cash in the Chicago Tribune wrote. When Bergdahl left, some stayed, served, and died. The president wanted to stand with the family and tell Americans that we don't leave our people behind. Then he sent our National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, on the Sunday talk shows to speak of Bergdahl in heroic terms. This is the same Susan Rice who went on the Sunday talk shows just before Obama's re-election to lie to the American people about what triggered the attack in Benghazi. We left people behind there for Americans, including former SEALs who called for help that never came. Is there an inconsistency here?
Well, of course, it's hypocrisy in the extreme. Not only did we leave them behind, did we not try to rescue our own Americans who were under fire? We never gave them adequate protection to start with. And I've got to tell you, Eric, every time I see Susan Rice go on a Sunday talk show, I think somebody should have alarm bells to go off, because somehow she always seems to step in a hornet's nest.
All right, KT, thank you for your insight and
Thank you.
analysis this morning, as always.